Hi there, it's Bill with the Doomer Bloomer podcast. Now, if you're a listener to the show, you know that I've been doing this for a long time. But now there's an easier way to make a podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. The Anchor app will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Cheers. And we're live. Welcome to the Doomer Bloomer podcast with Will S. We're talking about the hero's journey and 30 to 45 minute episodes, the 10 pillars framework for success, life in business and relationships, health, wealth, virtue, love, art, travel, freedom, integrity, peace, and charity. Today on the podcast, I have Kalpna. She is a business coach from Central East London. How are you doing this morning or afternoon? I guess we're on different time zones.
Yeah, it's evening at the moment, and I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Yes, well, the sun is sort of out in the UK today, so people are kind of going out, and lockdown is over at the moment. So it's just about enjoying the sun while it's out, because in London we don't get much sun down here anyway.
Excellent. And do you go by Kalpna or do you go by K? What is your preferred name?
So I would prefer people call me Kalpna, but most of the time people can't pronounce it or remember it, so they ask me is there another way to call your name, so I say K.
Okay. Sounds good. And for those of us who don't know who you are and what you do, who are you and what do you do, or what's your journey?
Okay, so what do I do? So I'm a business strategist. I'm also an award-winning author, and I also own a company called Uncensored Society. And basically, what that means is I help business owners, entrepreneurs on five main pillars of business, and that is sales, marketing, finance, operations, and leadership. Of course, we also throw in there things about mindset, because mindset is very important when you're starting your own business, and self-development, and also the career and life balance. Because when people are first starting out and they're growing and scaling, people tend to neglect their family, right? And when you start neglecting your family, there's going to be issues at home. So we've got to rectify that and make sure that we find a balance.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to have you on the podcast. We connected via Matchmaker, which I call the Tinder for podcasting.
Yes, I've heard from the other podcast, actually. That's definitely the best way to describe that. Definitely.
And yeah, so you reached out to me, and I thought you'd be a good fit for our audience. So here we are. I would love to ask you, like, where are you on your hero's journey, and tell us a little bit more about your doomer to bloomer path, and we'll try and get some wisdom and insights from that.
Oh gosh, I mean, where do I start, right? So when it comes to business, and you probably know all this, there's so many ups and downs, not just in business, but all areas of your life. So you got to make sure your health is on point. You got to make sure, you look after your family, your friends, your business. It's just everything it just comes together, and you make sure that there's a balance, right? And so where I started, I was actually in the corporate world for a very long time. I was a police officer in London for 6.5 years. And I didn't realize at the time how much this job was actually taking a toll on my body. Um, you can imagine, being around negativity all the time, chasing bad guys all the time, right? It doesn't put much positive elements in your life, right? And
Right.
what happened was it started taking a toll on my body. And one day I woke up one morning and jumped in the shower. And as soon as the hot water touched my skin, my whole skin started burning. So I jumped out, went straight towards a mirror, only to find out my entire body had come out in a rash. Now I'm like, what the hell is going on? I went to sleep last night completely fine and I woke up and this happened. So then I called a friend up. Her mum's a nurse. She told me to go straight to the hospital now, to drive down there. So went to the hospital, had all these checks and tests and been sent from one room to another. And then in the end, I sat in the consultation room waiting for the doctor to give me my results. And as soon as he opened the door and walked in, he turned around and said to me, "You are lucky you got here when you did." So I'm like, what were you talking about? And he goes, "If you didn't get here when you did, your throat would have closed up." And at that point, I was like, holy crap, what if my throat closed up while I was asleep? I would never have woken up the next morning. And so I continued to speak to him about this and say to him, well, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And he goes, this type of rash is very common and is brought on by stress. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I need to do something about this, right? Because now my life is on the line. So I then decided that I was going to quit my job. Right? I had no plan as to what I was going to do next or what was going to happen. All I knew at that point is that my life is on the line and I need to do something about it and I need to quit my job. And so I decided to go and quit my job. And I kind of decided that, all right, I'm going to give myself 6 months to figure out what I'm going to do. And when people say things just happen at the right time, and I've said before as well that things have just been an accident, but really they're not an accident. It's just something that you're going through. It's a journey that's been designed for you, right? And so as soon as I quit my job, handed in my resignation, I was done. I was like, okay, maybe I should start a business. And the reason for that is because I felt like there's a lot of bosses, managers, right? They're not leaders. And they sit on their high and mighty chairs in their offices, delegating stuff and work that they have no clue what to do. And I have come across so many of these managers and bosses that want to make the rules, want to make the policies, but really don't know what it means to actually do the work, right?
Well, you're talking of a manager versus a leader. That's a different thing.
Exactly, yes. Because in my thought, growing up, I was like, okay, I didn't know the difference. I was like, all right, you go to school, you go to college, you go to university, you get a full-time job, you learn out there in the real world. And then I was like, hold on a second, this isn't adding up to me. I don't understand why people have worked their way up to the top, become a manager, and then what I've seen is they pretty much treat the staff like crap, right? But yet we've been taught that you go out there, you teach people, you coach people, you mentor people, you bring that down, you show your staff how to do this, and it doesn't really work like that. And then one of the other things I learned is that the things that you learn in school, college, all these institutions, it doesn't work like that in the real world. Right? It's like
we're running on outdated models for the world that we live in. I agree.
Yeah. And at that point, that's when I opened my eyes and I was like, no, like this doesn't make any sense to me. In the textbooks and the teachers are telling me something different. In the real world, it works completely different. What is this? And it just didn't match up for me. And then what happened? I found that most of my 20s, I was actually going from job to job to job to job to job, right? And I couldn't settle anywhere because I was trying to find a job And I say that in quotation marks, when clearly I wasn't fit for a job. And so a lot of people have dealt with so much adversity with family, with friends, and people just telling me that I need to find a job, I need to settle down. And basically, once I find a job, that's the job I'm going to retire in. Right. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. That doesn't unfortunately exist anymore. Not for most millennials.
Right. But this is the kind of culture society. Now, I'm from an Indian background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it means. And it also means making sure you're either an accountant, a doctor, or a lawyer, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
when I started kind of going at it, even when I became a police officer, it was, oh my God, no, that you cannot be a police officer. Like, that is a dangerous job. You shouldn't be doing that. There's no way that they're going to accept you into the force. And when they did, people were like, their jaws dropped to the floor. So I have been going against the norm for many years because I just refuse that this is the way of life, or that there's got to be something out there that's better than this. And so I've been battling so many different people in so many areas of my life because of this, because I'm not doing what society tells me I should be doing. And so once I quit my job in the force, I was then actually approached by somebody else and asked me if I would join their team to work as a campaign manager for, get this, the politics, right? For Liberal Democrat Party. And I was like, this is strange. Like, why would someone just offer me a job like that? Right? That never happens, right? But come to realize that actually happens a lot more often in business.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And so I was like, let me give this a go, see what happens. And so I wasn't there for long again, right? Because it wasn't something that I was fit for. But I didn't feel like I was fit for. And so I went through that stage, and then I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I really wanted to get into events, live events. Okay. I had no qualifications. I had no experience in live events, nothing. But I was like, okay, I want to try and go for this. And people were telling me all around me, they were telling me, well, how are you going to do this? Like, you don't know nothing about events. You don't have any qualifications. You don't have any experience. There's no way you're going to be able to do this. And then I started working events, and guess what? Working events internationally, right? My first event that I went to was in Malaysia. In fact, I was asked to go to Malaysia, right? Be packed, be ready, and I'll be flying out there in 2 days. So I flew out to Malaysia, and that's when I truly got involved in events. And these were events that are around business conferences, right?
Right.
Digital
In the
marketers.
the hero's journey, that's called the call to adventure.
There you go. Right. And then since then, I just kind of progressed in life, in live events. And I've moved, I lived in Bali, Indonesia, I moved to Australia, I traveled Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, moved to Costa Rica. I moved to Costa Rica, and that's when everything went patong, right? And what happened there, everything was going great. You know, when everything goes great and you're like at the peak, right? There's going to be something thrown at you, life throws at you, that you're going to have to deal with. And that's exactly what happened here. And in the click of a finger, the company got shut down, right? It got shut down. That means I had no roof over my head because they were paying for it. I had no food. I had no water because they were paying for it. And I couldn't get out of the country because they paid for that too, my flight, right? So I'm like, holy crap, what am I going to do now, right? But the positive thing was, it was Costa Rica. It was a hot country. The sun was out, and there was a beach, right? So then what I decided to do then, I was like, I've got skills, right? I've learned a lot from these digital gurus by going to live events, learning business. I need to learn to survive. What am I actually going to do? So I started negotiating with the hotels that were on the beach and saying to
Yep.
them, I will show you how to bring leads in. I can do your graphics. I can do, lead magnets. I can show you what you need to do to bring more clients in. In exchange, I need a roof over my head, I need water, and I need food.
Right. Your basic necessities.
Exactly, right? And then in time after doing that, I raised the money to get my flight home. And
Yep.
so that was a complete different experience. It was like, oh my God, I was at my peak and all of a sudden it just dropped. And so I had to figure out, how am I going to navigate myself out of this situation? And the thing is, when you're at that point, you don't have a choice but to figure it out, right? You don't have time. It needs to happen now.
Yeah.
And so, I got back to London, and then I was like, right, what's going to be my next step? It's almost like I have to start all over again now, right? Just click of a finger, I lost $20,000, right? Never going to see that money again because the company's gone bust. And so I was like, okay, I'm broke. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next. I thought I had everything planned out. And what I started to do is just reaching out to people, connecting people, because I made a lot of contacts while I was in this industry for a few years. And
Contacts are contracts.
Right. And then a lot of people knew me. They knew what I could do, what my strengths were. And I said to people, listen, I need help. I'm in this situation now and I need help. You guys know me. You know what I can do. Is there anyone in your network that I can, that wants to do events or is doing events that I can help out? Because then I became the events manager, the sales manager, right? I know this from the back of my hand. So then again, it's all about connection, right? It's all about contacts. And it was the people that I found that I started surrounding myself with that were completely different to when I was in a full-time corporate job, that actually kind of reached out and helped me get out of this little rut that I was in. So to cut the long story short, because I could speak about this for days, right? But that's where I decided to start my company, and that's where Uncensored Society was then born. Okay. Now, the reason why I call it Uncensored Society is because a lot of the time, most people say to me, you're very direct. You just say it how it is, And some people have said that they've got offended by me or they've got upset because I've been so direct. And I was like, people might see it as a weakness, but that is one of my strengths. And so Uncensored Society means just being raw, real, and relentless, right? Just saying it how it is, straight talk.
Right.
And so if you're going to get offended, if you're going to get hurt, and I probably will make you cry, right?
I always say that people choose to become offended, right?
Right.
It's just information is information, and how you interpret that information is going to be based upon a lot of people have a lot of cognitive biases as well, right? We're always looking through different filters. But to be honest, if you're, like you said, raw and straight to the point, sometimes it cuts through a lot of bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it does, most definitely. There might be people out there that want to be told, want a pat on the back, and being told that. Did you want to go sort that out? Because I can hear that.
Yeah, it's fine. Just keep going.
Yeah, okay. And so a lot of people sometimes, want that whole tap on the back, pat on the head, being told that life is going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, if that's the case, then I am not the coach for you. I'm not going to be telling you that. I'm going to be telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And if that's the case, if that's how you want to be coached, then guess what? You're actually not going to be able to grow. You're not going to be able to develop. And And eventually you're just going to get burnt out because you're trying so many different things and it's not working. That's because you don't have someone telling you straight what you need to hear. Okay, so when people are looking for a coach, that's exactly what they need to be looking for. They need to be making sure that they don't surround themselves with people that's telling them that it's going to be okay, because if that's what they've done previously, it clearly hasn't worked for them. And so that needs to change. And so that being said, it needs to be someone that wants to help you, to push you and direct you to get you the results that you want. It's got to be result based, right? But you're only going to get results if you're going to, you're going to, I'm going to kick you up your backside. It's going to happen. And if you don't do the work, I'm going to question you about it. Right? And I've had mentors and now and in the past, and I've actually been drawn to those people that just don't take bullshit. And that's why in the few years I've been in this industry, I have grown so much more than in the years that I have in the corporate world. Because like I was saying in the beginning, they're bosses, they're managers, they're not leaders.
100%.
Right. And that was the big eye-opener and lesson. I was like, right, these are the people that I've been looking for. That's why I've been going from job to job. And so once I found that, I kind of made sure that I surrounded myself with those kinds of people. And that's why my growth just skyrocketed for that reason. Okay. So if there's any main point I can tell your audience is to make sure when they're looking for a coach, try and find someone that's out of their comfort zone. Okay. If people say, oh no, I would rather, have a coach that's a lady, that's a woman, rather than a man, because a man's too aggressive. Well, maybe you need a man that's aggressive enough to actually get you the results, right? If you want someone that's going to be, patting you on the shoulder, like I said, well, if you're comfortable with that, then you need to get out of your comfort zone and find someone else that's opposite that, because those people are not going to help. That's what you've been comfortable around, and that's not going to help you. That hasn't been helping you. And so the second thing, or the other point I would like to make to your audience, is that fail, guys. Fail big, fail hard, and fail as many times as possible, because it was at those pitfalls on my journey that I learned the biggest lessons, right? And when you're in those pitfalls, you have no choice but to navigate yourself out of it, right? You can't just sit there and be like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll figure it out tomorrow. It has to be instant, right? And your mind.
I always say there's no day called someday on the calendar. Someday never comes on the calendar. There's only 7 days in the week, and none of them have the day someday. So
right. And so as soon as you kind of put yourself in a situation where you are so low, people start figuring out really quickly how to kind of get out of it. And the growth is so much more faster than if you're in your comfort zone. Okay, so guys, you need to get out of your comfort zone in order to develop yourself, especially if you want to start your own business. But failing several times, right, is definitely going to be lessons to be learned throughout your journey.
I would argue that whether you're in like a corporate job or even as a person now, you need to treat your life as a business, right? You need to know how to sell. You need to know how to market yourself, right? You need to have all of the skills required to be successful. And these are things, like you said, in the regular, like go to school, get a job. We're teaching people to try and have a job when they really should be focusing on and trying to find a calling, something that they feel called to do, even if it doesn't necessarily make money right away. But if you feel like that this is what you need to do in your life, then you should pursue that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely go with what your heart tells you. That's when you turn a job into a business, into a passion. But what I find is that a lot of people, and I'm going to be straight, people are lazy. People
Yep.
don't want to figure out what their passions are. People don't want to work for what they want. And it's this whole entitlement mindset. Oh my God, that drives me insane, right? When people tell me that they're entitled to have a nice house, they're entitled to have a nice car, they're entitled to have abundance of money. Okay, well, if you feel entitled, how are you going to get that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should go on government benefits. I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? Okay, so you want all of this, you feel entitled, but yet you're not going to get off of your ass and actually make it happen, and you're going to rely on other people. What is that? And then I find that, okay, if you're not on government benefits and you got a job, then they're waiting for their managers to give them a promotion.
Right.
It's not going to just fall on your lap, you know?
No. I 100% agree.
If you want something and you want it bad enough, it's all down on you. It is on you. There's going to be some people to support you, to guide you, to advise you, but it's up to you to do the work, right? Nothing's going to be given to you. And if you're in that mentality, and to be fair, for a long time, I think I was in that mentality when I was in the corporate world, because I was told, right, that's what happens. You start a job and then you just work up the ladder, right? I thought that's the way of the world.
Right.
And then
the ladder is actually a stairs.
Right.
And if you have the mindset of what I call the grinder mentality,
Right.
is that you have to chip away at it every day, and you have to climb it one step at a time. And to get to the next step, you actually have to build the ladder to go to the next step.
Right. Exactly.
Does that make a little more sense?
It makes perfect sense. Definitely. And so, for a while, I guess I was just waiting for my opportunity to just come at me, but it never happened. That's why I was going from job to job to job. And so the third thing I want to kind of really tell your audience is that what people tell you, what the people that you have surrounded around you, it's not a fact. That it doesn't mean because your parents are telling you this, your teachers are telling you this, your bosses are telling you this, your friends are telling you this is what you should be doing, that's what you need to do. People need to be looking at it in a different perspective. You need to be thinking out of the box. And what people need to realize is that the reason people are telling them this is because people have been telling them the same story, right? And it's just getting passed down. And people have not managed to kind of just get out of their comfort zone and go for what they want to do because they don't believe they can, because they're told that they can't. And so it's down to you to really get out there, to figure out there is a different side of the world. And there is, guys. I've seen it. And the only regret that I have, right, is that I didn't figure this out sooner.
Wow. I always say you fall to the level of knowledge and understanding that you have. If I could direct download the information I have right now at 31 back to myself at 21, if I could beam that backwards, I would love to. But
right.
I think it's important to go through the journey, and you're not always going to progress as fast as you would like. But then sometimes there's going to be spurts where you're going to progress maybe faster than you would like. So it kind of ebbs and flows, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I do have that regret that I didn't figure it out before. But then at the same time, everyone has their different times as to when their transition, when their journey begins, when it starts, right? On their entrepreneurial life. And it happens for a reason. Maybe I had to go through the corporate world and to be a police officer because I've seen so much negativity, I can now appreciate the good. If I maybe didn't go through that, I maybe wouldn't be able to appreciate that.
Well,
right?
your police time would have been what I would categorize or call your doomer period. Um, Hence doomer bloomer,
Right,
right? So now you've came at least through one cycle of your hero's journey, so that through the dark times, and then you came back the other side through the cave, as they say. You brought in what you needed, and you forged something into something that you're proud of on the other side, right?
right,
And
definitely.
that's what uncensored society is, in my opinion, right? It's your bloomer period,
Yes,
right? But if you didn't go through the doomer period, you wouldn't necessarily appreciate or understand what it's like to be a bloomer either, right?
right, exactly, definitely. Um, and I think that's you know, you have to go through a journey because it's at those points that you realize, okay, damn, this is what I need to do. Um, and I didn't really think of uncensored society before that until I went through all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then was that it was just like a light bulb that just goes off about this is what it is, this is what I need to do. And so that journey has also, I'm still on that journey because I'm building and I'm scaling. But even just being in a few years of my entrepreneurial journey, I've learned more in those years than I have in the years in the corporate world. I'm an award-winning author. I actually wrote about my journey in this book. And because I knew what I wanted to write, what I wanted to tell people, I actually managed to lock myself in a room for 30 days and write the entire book.
Yeah.
And it told like it goes from the days that were really, really dark to the times where I transitioned, what happened, all the different areas of my life. And as I was writing this, like there were some chapters where I was actually crying and writing. I actually put my heart on my sleeve and just let it all out. And I managed to kind of get this book out there, and I got a acknowledgement, a congratulations from the Queen of England, who told me that she also has a copy of my book in her private royal library. Imagine that, right?
That's pretty exciting. That's pretty cool.
Right, exactly. And I was like, oh my God, loads of people say, they're number one on Amazon, best selling, but how many people can say they've actually got a book in the private royal library?
Not many.
Right. So that's one thing that I feel like, oh, I stand out from the crowd because I've got something that many people don't. It's pretty unique. And so again, it was just another learning step for me.
Absolutely. I could probably take some tips from you because I'm in the preliminary stages of writing a book as well.
Okay.
I don't want to release too many of the details yet, but they're the working title is called the Broken Link.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
That sounds
But
interesting.
yeah.
So it's in the making and it's coming soon.
Right. I'm gonna have a landing page for it soon just to see if there's any interest in it.
Okay.
But this isn't about me. I'm just the host here, so I
No
would like to keep talking with Kalpna.
No problem. And yeah, so now I've really got my teeth in and my claws into building this business that I have, helping as many people. And however, I am very picky with my clients just because of the way I coach people, and it is application based only. But again, it's working with my clients to make sure that they get the results because that's the number one thing that's important to your clients, that's important for me and business. Okay, actually getting them results. And so going through that journey and working with so many different people, different cultures, different backgrounds, and hearing what their stories, what they've gone through, is something that I feel like is an opportunity that's come to me because now I can actually bring them to the other side and actually help them go through some of the stuff. And some of them are very similar to my situation, my story, right? But they've gone through it a different way, whether they've struggled through it, whether they've come out of it a lot quicker. But I find that a lot of the stuff that I've gone through, even relationship based, it's something that's all relatable to people. And one of the things that I have found with clients that I've spoken to is they're scared to tell their story. They're so scared that they're going to be judged, right? They don't want to tell people because when they see all these other gurus that are making millions and billions, right? It's like they've got the perfect life. They have
But
the
are
perfect.
but are they though? Because you it's so easy to fake what your life could be like on Instagram and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely. But I'm talking about like the Grant Cardones, right?
Right.
Like, but he hadn't. He had to build it himself, right? He
Right.
was doing it for years.
35 years.
There you go. And he started from nothing, right? But people, when they're on social media, they just see the perfect life, right? So then they're like, right, he's a guru, he's making all this money. That's what I need to do. But there's so many different steps before you even get to that point, right?
Wow.
And everyone needs to tell their story because people relate to the different stories. People relate to your situations. There's probably so many people that have gone through bad times just like you have. And there's nothing wrong. And I say this again in quotation marks, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. Get vulnerable with your clients, with your audience, because that's what is going to attract the people that you want towards you.
My personal coach Jared Bull would say, talk to people on a human level, just human to human, right? We're just human beings going through a path, and sometimes it's easier just to have a human to human conversation, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a title is just that, a title, right? But we're all human beings and we've all had different journeys. So you need to speak to someone or people at the same level. But then also make sure your teachings, your educations is something that you pass on through your own journey. And everyone has had different lessons. But definitely the human connection, the contact, and just, speaking to them like a human. Oh, sorry. Like a human is definitely the way that you're going to connect with your audience. And also making sure that as a business owner that you actually get yourself out there. And when I mean that, I mean, don't hide away in a corner thinking you can do all the admin work, all the background work, and actually not get on social media, right? Not get on any videos, not actually go and go to these events and connect with people, networking. It means all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh my God, no, I can't do that. Like, I have to sit behind the computer and just do that. But is that, well, then there's no way that people are going to know who you are, what you do, what your business is, or how you can help people.
Well, I think Grant Cardone puts it best is obscurity is your only problem. If people don't know who you are, what you do, what you represent, how can they ever connect with you, either in business or in life, right? Whether you're trying to sell, market, or promote is irrelevant. If they don't know who you are and can't trust you or your brand, obscurity is your really your biggest obstacle, in my opinion.
Right. But he also says the number one thing to do when you're starting a business is promote. Right? Have you watched Undercover Billionaire?
We don't get Discovery Plus in Canada now.
Damn. So there was a new season out and it had Grant Cardone in there. Basically, you had three entrepreneurs that went to middle of nowhere, right? They were disguised so nobody knew them. They had different identities, different names. And basically, they were given a car, a phone with no contact numbers, and $100 bill, and were told in 90 days you need to build $1 million company. And
yeah,
and all they got is $100, a truck, and a phone with no contacts.
Yeah, I might crack my VPN and binge watch that pretty soon here.
Oh my God, it is amazing. And I urge your audience to watch this as well, because seeing it in front of your eyes, what they go through, and they go through some emotional turmoil just like everyone does when they're starting a business. It's not going to be easy. And people say this a lot, but people don't see it. And actually seeing these three entrepreneurs that are billionaires starting from scratch and what they have to go through, just kind of, you get a light bulb. You're like, holy crap, all right, so it's not just me. Everyone has to go through this. It's a must. And what they have to do, how they build their team with nothing, right? They actually build a team with nothing to help them out, because in business, we all know that you can't build a business on your own. You're going to need help. And so there's so many different tips that people can take from this that I will say to people, it's a must watch. And how I heard about this program was from my mentor. I remember I was calling my mentor up, asking him about advice, and he wasn't paying no attention to me on the phone. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm watching Undercover Billionaire. Right? And I'm like, what's that? He was like, it's on Discovery Channel. It's got Grant Cardone, this person, you got to watch it. So I started watching it, and I was hooked. And I was like, no wonder he wasn't paying attention on the phone to me, because it gets you so hooked, because there's so many nuggets taken from the show.
Like I said, it's my next binge watch, I think.
Yes, do it. It is awesome. And so I've taken some kind of nuggets from there, and I've had like light bulb moments. I'm like, oh my God, I can totally do that. And the thing is, right, it's the most simplest thing you can do. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. And you're like, how the hell did I not even figure that one out before? You know? But watching these people and just kind of learning how they grow, you can definitely, you can model it. And it's funny because I've also learned that in school, people always say if you copy, it's plagiarism, right? In the real world, if you copy, it's called business.
Right.
You know?
But in to be perfectly frank with you, I mean, even William Shakespeare was a plagiarizer. Nothing really is ever original or brand new. It's just recycled. That's what creativity is, taking knowledge and information from the things that you absorb and recombining them in new and novel ways to create something useful. That's
right.
To me, that's basically what the process of creativity is.
Right.
You know.
And so, I mean, and then again, is that when you reflect back and look back on all of that, is that all these years when I was younger, people just lied. This isn't what real world is. They're just lying to everybody.
Well, there's a lot of people out there pretending to be adults and knowing what's going on.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But
that's what. Yeah, go ahead.
But I was gonna say, but I guess that's why you got to kind of throw yourself into something completely new and not just listen to what people around you are saying, and just going for what you want to do rather than people telling you what you need to do, right? And then as hard as it's going to be, you got to realize it's not going to happen a click of a finger, and it's not going to happen over the night, and it's going to be an entire learning journey, and it will get there, but it will take years.
Mm-hmm.
But every single lesson that you learn from that is definitely going to help you towards your success.
Right. I would say there's no such thing as overnight success. That's why I'm a big follower of Stefan Arnio, right? And he is a big proponent of the grinder mindset. Like you have to chip away at it every day, take consistent daily actions done over a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Get that 10,000 hours under your belt in whatever field that you're interested in. And I would say interested in, not passionate, because interest comes first, passion comes later.
Right.
You can't become passionate about something unless you become a relative expert in that particular area.
Yes,
you know
that's
what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess even it that just means in business overall, because you can have a particular skill that you have. So you could be a graphic designer and be really awesome at it, but being a business owner is a completely different skill. right? And you can't just become a business owner just because you have another skill, right? Because being a business owner also comes with so many different elements you learn from it. And again, that won't be learned until you step into those shoes and actually go through the journey. I mean, people say to me as well, they're like, how do I hire? What's the first thing I do? And I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, and you say that you're a business owner and you don't know how to hire staff,
Uh,
right?
I'm gonna say right now, if you wanna start and dip your toes in the water, go to Upwork and hire a virtual assistant. just just to do random things.
Right,
Just to pay them a little bit, and it helps you learn how to delegate, right?
right. But then also what I've done, so I have a huge Rolodex of contacts myself in my network. And if
Mm-hmm.
I don't know something, I know for a fact someone in my network will, right?
Right.
And when I hire someone, I always like to do it from recommendation. So
I
even if it
agree.
is looking for a copywriter, I know someone in my network will know, they'll know hundreds of copywriters. And so therefore I will speak to several people, see what they thought of them, what kind of work they've done, are they happy with it? And then approach that copywriter, for example. But I always think the best solution is to make sure that you hire people on recommendation.
Mm,
That's the most
yeah.
easiest way.
Well, I mean, we're social creatures, right? If you look at it, like even from evolutionary sort of background, like from a tribal background, your vibe, your tribe is, your safety and your social net, right? Um, so we've just moved that on to an online space and online presence, and it's become a global tribe now, right? But
Right.
even within that global tribe, there are still pockets of people doing interesting and different things, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. And then also what you got to remember is that your your challenge becomes your friend's opportunities, right? Because
Agreed.
you're not gonna know how to do everything in the industry. It's not gonna, you don't have enough time, hours in a lifetime to learn everything. And therefore, why not leverage that and then ask your friends who do have those skills to help you out?
100%, 100% true. Um, do you have a business partner yourself?
So my business partner is also my mentor. He's actually on the website on Uncensored Society. His name's Tim Johnson.
Okay.
And oh my God, so if you think that I'm very direct, like he's on a different level, but then also he is a multi-millionaire too. So he's gone through a lot more steps than I have, right? Um, but what's interesting is that I find that he attracts a lot more females, whereas I attract a lot more males, which wasn't
Well,
the plan going in, but that's just the way that it's worked out.
we tend to attract our opposites, right?
Yeah, but I guess so. We do, but I didn't. That wasn't the intention going in. I actually thought I'll probably attract all the females and he'll attract all of the males, but it didn't work out that way at all. You know. So yeah, I mean, I'm continuing this journey right now and just kind of promoting myself and learning from gurus like Grant Cardone and just kind of making it happen. But like you said, every day is a grind, and you got to be prepared for that. If you want it bad enough, it won't be a job. It will be something that you're interested, you're passionate about, and you want to make happen.
Yeah, and I don't know, like this podcast, like right now, like it's more of an outreach platform, to be honest. But I consider myself, I wear many hats. I'm learning copywriting right now. I'm going
Wow.
to be putting myself out there as a copywriter. Um, so and I have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different backgrounds, specifically the 10 pillars. That's what I'm most interested
Okay.
in pursuing. um but yeah, again, this is not about me. But I before we get too off track here, um who are the three people that are the most influential to you?
Oh gosh, just three people. Uh,
Uh-huh.
First, it's got to be my mum, my mother. She um she hasn't pushed me, but she's also told me not to do it. Like, as she's told me not to do it, if that makes sense, right? So she was just
Mm.
kind of being like, well, if that's what you want to do, then go and make it happen. Do it, you know? And my nan as well. I think my nan has been a huge inspiration because she comes from a cultural background that if you want to make money, if you want to achieve anything, then you got to grind. You got to grind at it. And even to this day, she gets up at like 4:30 in the morning, and that's how her day starts, 4:30, and she keeps going. You know, that's a habit that she's formed, and it's so funny because that's what entrepreneurs, these gurus, tell us, that you need to start your day really early.
Yeah, if you're not either going to bed at 5 a.m. or waking up at 5 a.m., that's Stefan Arnio directly. Start your day early, 5 a.m. And Grant Cardone even says it, beat the sun up.
Right, exactly. Hmm.
Everyone still has the same 24 hours in the day. It's what you decide to work on in those
Right.
24 hours, right?
Hmm. Definitely. And so, my nan was born and brought up in India, and she traveled from one place to another, and finally got to the UK. But all of that was a journey, that was a grind, and she had to work so many different jobs to get to that point, and she made it. And so, therefore, she is another inspiration to me as well, because I didn't really know her story until I sat down and spoke with her. And I was like, what the hell? You did that? And then, do you know what was a shocker to me? Was, I guess I'm so used to, like, when people go from one country to another, like getting on a plane. I was like, what was the plane like then? And she was like, are you kidding me? We came on a boat. There was no plane. We came on a boat. I'm like, what? I'm like, how many days did that take you? She's like, days, it takes weeks. you know so it
Yeah.
again is a different perspective, and life was just so much harder, but yet people made it happen, and now people they're just lazy now.
Well, in my opinion, I just it's not entirely their fault, but it's just like Jack Ma says: if you start out life being broke, that's not your fault. But if you end your life being broke, that is your fault.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, I completely agree, definitely. um but and the third person, oh gosh, I'm gonna say it's my mentors that I've come
Mm,
across in the past. I can't say one specific because each one has had a hand in my journey. But it's got to be my mentors that have helped me and pull me to progress. So I will say, yeah, my mum, my nan, and my mentors, definitely.
100%. Um, so if you're a doomer right now, what would a doomer start to do to get on the path to becoming a bloomer in life, business, or relationships? What would be your best advice?
Okay, so if you want to change things round, I would say you need to get yourself promoted, right? And what I mean by that is start doing videos about the things that you can actually teach people. So give yourself a 30-day challenge and do a Facebook Live every single day for 30 days, right? I guarantee not only will you get better, right? But people will actually like you more than you think people like you, because I think people are so like, oh my God, I'm not going to get loved. People are going to hate on me. No, people's perceptions are very much different to your own. And so doing these videos will give you practice, will actually give you a different perspective as to people want, and also you'll get so much better giving content and value by the end of 30 days that will change everything around for your business.
Well, it's not just your business, just your life in general.
Your life, your demeanor, your business, everything. It's just the confidence that it actually gives you by doing this.
100%. And how can you be of service to your community and the world?
Again, I guess it's by teaching people what I've learned, so they can avoid the pitfalls and don't have to spend so much time and money trying to get out of these pitfalls or learn the hard way and just actually learn from people that have done it themselves. It'll save some time and money.
Yeah. And we've got a couple bonus questions here, but
Oh, I like bonus questions.
the bonus round is coming up.
Oh, do I win a prize?
You get the prize of being on this podcast.
Okay, awesome. I'll take it.
So where can your listeners connect with you online?
Yeah.
This is your chance to talk about Uncensored Society.
Okay. Yes, so what my listeners can do, I've got my website, uncensoredsociety.com. I'm on social media as well. I know that you're going to be putting the links on the notes. But people can really get hold of me through my website. If they also want a free 30-minute strategy call to just talk about where they're at in the business and how they need help, they can get themselves booked in. It's free of charge. And also what I'm doing is the first 10 people that book in a strategy call with me will get a free PDF digital copy of my book that's in the private Royal Library as well. But again, I have to be very specific and say to people, listen, my type of coaching is very unique and is very straight to the point. And if it's not for you, then please don't approach me. Do not contact me, right? And I've got to be as brutal and blunt as possible. I'm not for everyone, and I get that, and I don't want to be for everyone.
Right. You're 100%. You gotta be in your own little niche. I appreciate it. And the bonus question is, what is your zombie plan?
Sorry, explain to me what the zombie plan is.
You wrote to join my 7-day challenge getting shit done. That's what you put in your in your questionnaire.
So the next thing that I'm doing is actually doing a 7-day challenge about exactly what you said, getting shit done, because so many people are making so many excuses. They don't have time for this. They've got to do this. They've got to do that. But what getting shit done means is actually sitting down, analyzing what the hell are you doing throughout your day, and are you actually being proactive on tasks that needs to be looked at, or are you just busy being busy? Right?
Absolutely.
So if you want to join my 7-day challenge, then again, let me know. Shoot me a message on Facebook, contact me through my website, and let me know if you want to join this. And again, this is a free 7-day challenge.
Any other last words of wisdom or insight?
Last words of wisdom. Oh, I've got one for you. It's not a very quick one. Do you want me to be quick?
We got time.
Yeah, okay. So actually, I'm going to ask you this question, okay?
Go ahead.
Out of 3 categories, right? Money, time, and change. Which do you think is the most vital, the most important one out of the 3?
Personally, time.
Time. And do you know what? Most people say that, but that's the incorrect answer. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, every single person, like you said, every single person in any country, any background, any culture has the exact same time in a day. Do you agree?
Yep.
Right?
24 hours.
Right. It doesn't change for anyone. You don't get more hours in a day than I do, and I don't get more hours in a day than you do. Okay? Money. Now, money comes and goes, right? However, why is it that some people maybe make $100 in a day, but then there's other people that can make $1 million in a day, right? The answer to that is because change of habits. Okay. Now, if you have the exact same time in the day, right, You should be able to make abundance of money. And the reason people don't, it just all comes down to habits, right? If you know the habits that aren't working for you, you need to change it. You need to work on changing habits, changing perspective, and actually forming new habits that are actually going to work for you, your life, that's going to build your abundance, money, business. But it all comes down to changing habits. And that's why change is the most important.
I would agree with you there.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'll leave it at that. But again, if anyone has any questions, then please let me know, contact me, and I'll be happy to go through anything with you.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Kalpna, for your wisdom, insight, and sharing your hero's journey. This has been Will S. with the Doomer Bloomer podcast. We are profiling the hero's journey in 30 to 45 minute episodes each week with various people from across the globe, each doomers or bloomers in their own right. You can always contact the podcast directly at the Doomer Podcast on Twitter or on Facebook, Instagram. Those are our main handles. We're also in the Reddit community now at the Doomer Bloomer _89. I'd like to thank you for listening, and everyone, wherever you are in the world, have a great and prosperous day. Good night or good morning. Namaste.